I walked up and into the house, reflecting on what had just happened. Beat how Jacob and Ward were in love with me, but I had to know why Em was alive. Ward had clearly killed him, had he not? I pondered. Em must be asked. I walked into the house and up into his room where I knew he would be. He was sitting on the bed, looking out the window at the hay vans, listening ironically to Evanescence bring me back to life. Em! He turned around, and he had tears in his hizzies. Em, how are? I took a breath. How are you here? Edward killed you, did he not? Em looked up with his deep brown eyes. I felt sorry for him. James brought me back from the dead. He used a satanic ritual to demon spawn! I screamed and spat in his face and shoved him away with my fist. He was here because of Lucifer's doing. One. I held my fingers in a cross and backed away from him, praying to the Almighty in case he were trying anything. He has a tainted soul. 11. Joan! It's not my fault! James brought me back. He dug up my bird and cut up corpse and put me in a pentacola. Then used his wicked magics to raise me and make me back to gather. I did not one owl come back, not after. He cried and I felt sad. It wasn't his fault, but now he was a demonic campire. Like in Forbidden Fruit. Thy a campire, Tia, the vampire. How does one go about healing such a wound? I furrowed my brow in thought. It wasn't his fault, yet he was now clearly under the control of evil. What should I do? I called the local church for guidance without explaining the Cullens were vampires, of course. They sent me over a priest, and I went out to greet him.
Wait, is it like priest on demand?
Rent a priest. The Cullens didn't know this was happening!
Yeah, maybe you should have told them.
I don't know why it's in all caps, but I exited the door and the priest's green hatchback showed up. Out exited a tall white man with a grey and brown hair and his shortest cut. Erin, you know, guy hair. In a modest plaid shirt and black slacks. He had a fuzzy brown mustache and a gentle smile. It was, I recognized, Father James Holden, 111. I don't know who that is.
Probably her priest.
Good morning, Miss Joan St. Sanctuary Louisa Smith. I recall you from last weekend's service. You were such a charming young lady. I blushed.
No, I bushed.
Oh, I'm sorry. I bushed and ushered him inside the house quickly. We went upstairs and M prepared himself. He stripped down to his boxers and Father Holden dabbed his temple with holy water. What was the point of him taking off his pants?
Oh, no.
And spoke a few words, asking the Lord to bless and take care of M during the ordeal. The father then started chanting something in what I could only guess to be Latino. M's sobbing stopped, and his now white eyes rolled up and into his head. His mouth fell open, and he began vibratoring.
Vibratoring? I don't even want to picture that.
He lifted off the ground and started slowly spinning around and began chanting some strange tongue. Father Holden struggled against the energy coming off Emo.
Emos have a lot of energy.
And flacked holy water at him from the wall. I almost fell over. Strange supernatural winds began to blow in the room.
Supernatural wine.
That's why they call them spirits.
Boo.
And things fell everywhere. I screamed. Finally, Father Holden seemed to be winning and threw his holy water at M, shouting, "Unheavenly influence, be gone from the mortal plane. Thy Lord commands it so." Over and over, M began whirling around, faster and faster, and then slower and slower, and then he stopped and fell to the ground in a heap. We dragged him to his feet and into his bed, where Father checked his vitals. "He'll be fine. Thank you for contacting me, Miss Joan. It's rare that we see demonic forces at work in this world, but when we do..." I nodded and he went. I waved him goodbye outside before going back to M. You know, this guy's surprisingly nonchalant after just exorcising a demon, seeing as how he clearly hasn't done this in a while, or possibly ever. You'd think this would be like a life-changing, ordeal of faith for him, but no, he's just like, "Well, see you next week. Call us if you have any other problems. Here's our number."
When there's something strange and you don't feel good.
Who you gonna call?
Oh.
Father Holden! He looked adorable asleep, almost like Ward. They were related after all.
No,
No, they're not. I brushed my hair and smiled. I could tell everyone M was now safe. But James, he was still a danger we must deal with. I'm disappointed in this girl. Not only is she not gotten any better, but her writing's also gotten boring. If you are untalented enough to make an exorcism boring, then you really shouldn't be writing.
What are we gonna do? We tried everything. Everything the devil hates. Prayers, holy water, sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Rock and roll.
Rock and roll? We never tried that.
I hate rock and roll.
Oh, you hate rock and roll. Well, wait till you get a load of me.
This is the devil. I'm being driven back to hell by loud music. Could you... Hello? Hello?